Today on the Diz List, we count down our top 5 favorite things to do at Epcot.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and welcome to episode 103, where we list our 5 favorite things to do at Epcot. And I try to sound not too much like Barry White because I have some pretty hefty allergy issues right now.
Dude, it is ripping through the area right now. You're not alone.
I'm coughing, and
my kids are all screwed up.
Yeah.
I usually get like slight allergy issues. This season has been my eyes more than anything else, but most people are getting exactly what you. I mean, everybody sounds like you right now.
Well, and part of the problem is last night my band played, and Nick and I were there, and when you're in a loud place,
I hope you were there. Your band played.
Yeah, well, part of me was there.
Yeah.
I don't know if my brain was.
Yeah,
I just felt rough, and it's you got to push through, and when you're trying to talk to somebody and it's super super loud, I have to push my voice, and then my voice gets blown out. I didn't even sing any of the backup parts that I usually do.
I noticed. Yeah, I mean, you said that you weren't going to.
I figured that was not a good idea.
No, I mean, look, it's this time of year where it's weird because it's like second spring almost, right?
Yeah.
Where now the different flowers are out and different pollens are impacting everybody. You are not alone. There are so many people who this past week at school were like, man, my allergies are killing me. And I was waiting for it to catch up with me, and it's just my eyes itch like so bad. But my son, when I left the house today, I mean, he was, he sounded very similar, like just
Sandpaper throat.
Yeah, and like blowing his nose. He's like, my God. I was like, yeah, well, you were outside all day yesterday.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, that didn't help.
No, it didn't. So lots of stuff going on at Disney.
Yeah, I got a list of some things I was going to mention to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first one was you and I had a conversation the other day about Tiana.
Yeah.
And you were like, you still don't want to see the ride through? Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I want to be surprised. And my explanation was, I know there's advanced animatronics. Mm-hmm. I generally know that it's the storyline that features Tiana and the animals.
Right.
I know that Mama Odie is in it.
Yeah.
And then you said to me, you said this quote, I wrote it down. You go, good luck not seeing spoilers.
Yeah.
And I've been doing pretty good so far.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit. The only spoiler I saw was of the riverboat.
Okay. The riverboat?
No, where the riverboat used to be.
I was going to say.
Because that was our conversation.
That's
I was
interesting.
Because I said to you, I go, well, I saw one scene, and I didn't want to see it. See, I don't want to ruin this now for our listeners, so I feel like I need to stop right here.
We can stop.
Yeah,
we can stop.
Again, I'm very aware when sometimes I'm oversharing information, which you've made very clear to me through the years.
In a loving way, not in a mean. Well, maybe a mean, but I just want to make sure you're aware of yourself,
and I don't want to ruin it for other people. So.
Right. Funny story.
Yeah.
A little aside, because I forgot to tell you this last night.
Yeah.
So I sat down. Your kids came to the show.
Yeah.
And I sat down, and your wife started to tell me a story. She stopped mid-story, looked at your son, and goes, "Do not ruin this. Don't tell the ending first."
Oh yeah.
And I look at him and I go, "Oh, you're like your dad, huh?"
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
I have to say that to him too.
So that's funny.
He'll go right to the end of the story.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the story about such and such where the thing and thing happened?
Yeah.
And then we all look at him like,
yeah, way to go, bud.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to bring up is, we talk on the show about how our families, our friends and whatnot, and it's not just like a show that we do.
Yep.
But sitting in front of me right now appears to be some figurines that were purchased at the flea market this morning, I'm assuming.
Correct.
So my wife came home. She was like, it was a very Disney day at the flea market.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, is that bowl behind you also a flea market find?
No, this is actually a science teacher that resigned.
Okay.
Is that the right term to
Yeah,
use?
yeah.
He resigned and left this bowl. I'm guessing it's from 1981 or 1980. It's an Empire Strikes Back, but 1980, yeah. It's a bowl from 1980 that says Empire Strikes Back. It looks like it's from 1980.
Dude, is that a dog dish or is that a cereal bowl?
I think it's a kid's cereal bowl. So this showed up in my computer lab. I have 2 classrooms. I have an art room and a computer lab. My computer lab is like 2 doors down from where Nick teaches. And it was in there on a cart. And I remember seeing it in our tech guy's office. We can say his first name. His name's John.
Yeah.
It was in John's office. And I saw it on there, and I remember thinking, oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love it. And, you know, I'm not the guy who's going to say it's cool to try to get somebody to give it to me. Just thought, oh, that's cool in my head. So then it shows up in the computer lab. And I brought it back and put it back on his desk because I'm like, oh, he must have left his bowl in here. And
Did you think he was actually eating out of that bowl?
no, I don't.
Okay.
I thought maybe he was putting some, you know, tech parts or something, just being funny. So he walks in with it and he goes, here you go. Here's your Star Wars bowl. I go, my Star Wars bowl? He says, yeah. He said, our colleague that left the school left it here. And he goes, I know that you would appreciate it and you would actually use it. So here it is.
Well, I thought it was like it because it looks like something you would find at the flea market.
Yeah, it does. It
Like-
does. And then the figurines that Nick is referring
They
to
look
that
like
are sitting
they're-
in front of us.
They look almost like they're 3D printed, but they're not because they're old.
That's funny you said that because my son came in and thought they were 3D printed too. So there's
Yeah.
4 figurines that my wife got at the flea market. They're apparently from the 70s. She even knew the manufacturer. I can't remember the name. She said it once and it was kind of in one ear and out the other. So listeners, you may know what these are. I'm going to guess they're what? Maybe 6 inches tall.
Yeah.
They're pretty heavy plastic.
Yeah, they're all one color too.
It's like that plastic that
it's Bakelite.
and there's 4 different characters, and I guess there's a collection of these, so that we have a Mickey, Donald, Pinocchio.
Happy
which is
birthday,
kinda funny.
Donald, by the way.
Yeah,
90.
and Pluto. So we have 4 of them.
That's random that Pinocchio's in there.
I know. It's cool though.
It is cool. Very cool.
Pinocchio's kind of fuchsia pink.
Yeah. You had sent a bunch of stuff this week that you wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, I got a whole list.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I wish my voice was doing better. I got so much to say this week.
Yeah.
So one of the things, speaking of ducks, is that at Disneyland they have their cast members do kind of a fun little contest.
That was you
that
sent me this
cool?
video.
Yeah.
Go on, describe
You
it.
can explain it. I want to
Okay.
save my voice a little bit. Go
All
ahead.
right. So, Small World, they take and the cast members design a duck, a rubber duck. And I know that in my hometown or in towns around my hometown in the Adirondacks, they do something very similar where they dump rubber ducks that are numbered. You buy it. It's for a charity usually. And it's a race and it goes down the stream and whoever gets first,
Numbers
whatever.
on the bottom and they flip it and see.
But the cast members actually went through and decorated their own rubber duck. They released them into the Small World water.
That's cool.
And then they won. But they also had prizes for best decorated and it just seemed like a really cool thing. And I was thinking how, we talk about how cast members have to deal with a lot of crap because they do.
They do.
But they just seemed genuinely happy, like releasing their ducks and joking around about who got the best decorated one. It was a really cool thing. When I saw the video, because I didn't know it existed, but I saw the video, I was like, oh, that makes sense, right? Because the water kind of goes through. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool, and there were some really cool designs too. Not all of them are it said people whose ducks can float participate,
Right.
Because some people decorate them ridiculous.
And they're so extravagant they won't float.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I don't know. I thought that was a really cool one when you sent that video along on Instagram.
I have 2 more.
Yep.
One I'd really like to get into a little bit more, and that is the Tiana breakdown. So maybe we can get into that in a Patreon episode.
Okay. Yeah, it breaks down a lot, man.
So probably by the time people are listening to this, the Patreon will probably already be out.
It is, yeah.
So we're going to record that after, but it'll come out before, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go into that a little bit more too. And then the last one was comedian Lewis Black. Did I send you that video too?
I don't think so.
Okay. So comedian Lewis Black plays Anger in
Yes.
Inside Out.
Right.
And there is a cool video put out. I think Disney Parks put it out. Anybody listening to these, I'm sure you can find them relatively easy. Lewis Black goes to California Adventure, where they have the Anger. It has his character Anger blowing his top, looks like the Garbage Pail Kid.
Yeah.
Where
it
comes off the top of his
100%
head.
looks like that. Yeah.
And Lewis Black goes there to get a hot dog. It's really funny because Lewis Black, in real life is a pretty normal guy, but his stand up and his voice, it's very I guess angry and frustrated.
It tracks with what anger is. Yes.
So
correct.
he kind of plays it up as the Anger character getting his hot dog. I'll let you watch it. It's kind of funny, but that was kind of a fun video I saw this week too. So go check that one out I think they're both on the Disney Parks Instagram, the Duck Race and Lewis Black. I'm going to check really quick.
The Duck Race definitely is. I would say that one thing I've noticed about Disney Parks social media team recently is like they're posting more fun, interesting things. Did you happen to see though, and this was not posted by Disney Parks, but I thought it was kind of cool. Did you happen to see when Tiana broke down? And I know you were avoiding spoilers, so this doesn't even actually cause any spoilers, but where Mama Odie was riding, what's her name? Is it Jennifer Lewis? Is that right?
I don't know. I did not see this video. The only one I saw part of was Drew Brees.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
About to ride the ride, and then I stopped it because I didn't want to see anything.
Jennifer Lewis, who is the voice of Mama Odie, was riding. Not the preview one from like a month ago, but like she was just riding the ride. And I don't think it was broke down so much as it was just a backlog of logs as you're going back. That turn when you're coming back into we'll call it the station.
Yeah.
At the very end.
There's a little waterfall, and then you go inside again, and then you're back out. Yeah.
So as they were going around that turn, they were kind of backed up, and she started singing the song.
That is so cool.
And everybody was singing along.
That is great.
Yeah. So it was just a very impromptu thing. I saw that video. I was like, this is amazing. Because somebody said, oh, she's singing, Mama Odie's singing the song. So I was like, oh, I'll watch it because I've seen the ride through, so I wasn't worried about spoilers. Mm-hmm. And I thought they meant like the animatronic. And then it's like, nope, it's Jennifer Lewis singing the song live with all these park goers. Well, I mean, they're not park goers. They are park goers, I guess, but they're cast members because it was during cast member previews.
Cool.
They were singing along with her. So I thought that was a really cool video. So if you get a chance, find that. That is not on Disney Parks' website. That was like multiple people who were on the ride at the time posted it.
Cool.
So you can find it. Just look for Jennifer Lewis on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I'm sure you'll find it. But it was really cool because she was singing the song. It was like, to me, that was like a cool little thing that only happens at Disney, right? Where you're experiencing this ride and you're experiencing it with the person who plays the voice of
who was filming it, just whoever was on the ride with her.
Yes, it was people around, like other other cast members. It was during cast member previews that were stuck.
That's cool.
And because, like I said, this one wasn't a breakdown. This was a situation of like that typical backlog of logs, quite literally. So, but I think we're gonna head off to the halftime show now, right? We're gonna not torture your voice too much in this opening.
I'm okay. It's it's a little scratchier than normal, but
that's okay.
Appreciate everyone bearing with me.
We're going to head off to the halftime show, and we're going to, when we get back, we're going to talk about the wonderful world of Epcot. We're going to count down our top 5 things to do at Epcot. The halftime show this week is brought to you by Bryn S. We really appreciate you, Bryn. She's a patron on patreon.com/DizListPod. If you go to patreon.com/DizListPod, you can join for free. Follow along with us. You can join as a Dumbo pilot or a jungle skipper, and at the jungle skipper level, you get early access to new episodes as well as bonus content every week. And if you sign up by the end of July as a special bonus, we're going to be sending out our limited edition pins, which we are. If you're a patron and you're like, wait, I didn't get mine yet, we know. We
talked about it last night.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. We're getting some backing cards for the pins so we can mail them out in a more secure manner. So they are on their way. But we're going to head off to the halftime show brought to you by Bryn. Thank you very much. We'll see you after this. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 things to do at Epcot. I feel like Epcot is the most underrated park. Maybe not. Maybe that would be Animal Kingdom. But I feel like a lot of people still believe the old 1980s, early 90s belief that you can skip Epcot, especially with kids.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like
people think that.
Yes, yeah. I feel like you're right. But if you really look at what's there now, this is a weird one to start with, but the Moana play area, and adding in Guardians of the Galaxy and Frozen and Ratatouille, there's a lot that's really appealing to kids now.
I agree with you. And the Communicorp Plaza with the meet, and then the meet and greet with Mickey and friends. Have you seen any of the videos of inside of there? It's gorgeous in there. Yeah. It's beautiful.
It is really nice. Good place to go and cool off. Is that open to everybody? Because the DVC Lounge is only in the Imagination Pavilion, so this is open to everyone?
So the meet and greet and the plaza there, I don't know if it's full. Well, when this comes out, it'll be fully open. But they had the media event there. That's the videos I saw, was the media event.
It's indoors, right?
Well, yeah, there's the outside area, too, where that stage is. Where the stage is, and they do the, currently it's an Encanto show.
Right.
People were hating on it, and I was like, what? Why are you hating on this? Like, I think it's a cool area. And especially when you think about what the vibe of Epcot has become over the years to be the festival area. And this thing reminds me of that outdoor area and the Communicorp Plaza and the whole thing reminds me of a festival, like a nicely done festival area.
That park is perfect for festivals. It's funny that at California Adventure, that's their festival park. I was there during, I can't even remember, probably Food and Wine, I guess. But it didn't even seem like a festival to me when I was there. Like it was going on, but didn't seem like anything special, or I don't know. But when there's a festival at Epcot, you feel it.
Oh yeah, you feel it.
Yeah. And not at California Adventure. I don't know if they end up opening another park or expanding either of the parks, whichever way they decide to go, because we know something big is coming.
Right. Yeah.
Across the road in that parking lot there.
Is it Disneyland Forward? I think they're calling it.
So either way, whether it's a dual expansion, a single expansion, or a new park, maybe with that additional space, they can figure out a way to do festivals a little differently, maybe a little bit more along the lines of what they do with that.
Maybe we'll finally get Westcott.
Maybe. But I don't know. We've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm. So Epcot's got a lot of it's like I said, it's got a lot to do. We've got a lot more to do than you'd think. But it's kind of a and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it's a little bipolar, that park.
It is.
So let's talk about the things we like to do. What's your number 5?
Well, before I get to my number 5,
okay.
I just want to say these are just things that I personally like to do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these are the best things at the park.
Oh no!
So for example,
I think that's
Frozen isn't on my list, and Frozen is great to do, but like I'm trying to think of maybe our lists differ a little bit. Again, new listeners, we don't really compare.
I'm assuming they did.
Start.
I ended up listing stuff off in like generalities. So
this one is too. So
okay, go ahead.
My 5 is I like to go and watch the country movies.
Oh yeah.
So that's, and I included all,
on my
all
list,
3 there.
Yeah.
So I love the France one.
The one you can see once or twice a day.
I love it. I love it so much. I love the music. I've been to France a couple times, so I like to kind of identify places that I've been. Canada, same thing. Canada far and wide. There's a lot. I mean, we are very close to Canada.
Are you team old Canada or new Canada? The video.
I don't think I've even seen the new one yet. I think the time that we were there together, it wasn't showing.
It was not.
Because that was the last time I was there. Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. So I guess
I like the old one better, personally.
Well,
but the new one's good.
I guess I will let you know soon.
Yeah.
And then I absolutely love the China one. I love it.
I wish that they would
love it.
I wish they would not take up the French movie with all day long is the Beauty and the Beast sing along instead.
And then you sit next to someone who's singing like Miss Piggy the whole time.
Yeah. Like I wish that they would do maybe alternate shows or do something.
I feel like they used to.
Not anymore though.
I feel like it was like on every other hour. It was
if you want to watch that movie, the France movie, I think it's by 9:30 it's done, and they just switch it over. It's weird.
That's a bummer.
It is a bummer. I didn't put the country movies on here, but I was thinking about like how to like one of my honorable mention is learn like what things to do at Epcot. Learn,
Sure.
and I feel like that's one of the things that you can do. And I would throw in there not just the movies, but like going into like the old church. I think it was an old stave church there in Norway.
Yep.
The different, very unique things at each pavilion that is not what you would think at an amusement park.
Right.
You don't think, oh, I'm going to go watch, Canada Far and Wide at an amusement park. But and I will also throw in going into the American Pavilion and taking in all of that, going through the galleries in there. I mean, you think you know everything about America because you're from here or whatever, but like there's a lot of really cool things in Epcot like that. So I agree. I think that's a good one. My number 5 is something that's probably on your list, but it's my number 5, and that is going to the aquarium, because I absolutely love the aquarium. It's lower on my list because there's some other stuff at Epcot. I love Epcot, and I put other things at Epcot above this. But going to the aquarium is like, what other amusement park can you go into and relax like that? There's a stinking ride that goes through the aquarium, right? When you're on Nemo, like you're going through the aquarium. So
my only answer to your rhetorical question right there is Animal Kingdom, because Animal Kingdom has that's the only thing I would say is even close, and it's put out same area, same
100. Yeah, I guess
that's the only thing that I would say is close.
Yeah,
but that was my number 4, so I'm going to jump in with you.
Cool.
So it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
So the other one I always love putting in is our family tradition is to go see Lil Joe. And Lil Joe is the manatee there who, when my kids were real little, they kind of adopted Lil Joe as their own.
Every time I go, I'm like, please tell me Lil Joe's still there, so I know.
Please tell me I
don't have to text Rob and say, hey, break it to the kids.
Yeah, my teen kids would be in tears, I guarantee it. We have traditions that we like to do in there, and I would recommend this to listeners. This is really cool. If you have younger kids and you're looking to take a trip soon, go inside the aquarium and find Bruce the shark.
Oh, take a picture in Bruce's mouth.
Picture inside with your kids inside Bruce's mouth, and we do that every time. So we have this progression of the kids getting older and older inside of Bruce's mouth. So I recommend that. I love those little traditions too. Nemo ride. All kinds of stuff. I mean, I agree with you. It's just such a cool place, literally and figuratively. It's very cool inside.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Sometimes the aquarium can get a little crowded, but oftentimes I don't really see that as an issue. And then again, let's compare it to Animal Kingdom, where you got a bunch of schmoes standing in front of the tigers, and you can't see the tigers, but the benefit is those sharks can swim all around, or whatever the fish are. So even if someone's standing in front of the glass, there'll be a good view in about 2 seconds.
And I honestly think too, what's nice about the aquarium is that, like, if you're there to see a specific animal, you're going to probably see it, because it's not like Animal Kingdom where it's hot out and so they're backstage.
Yeah.
The eels are not backstage. The sharks are not backstage. They are on stage all the time.
Yep.
The cast members there are fantastic. The ones I'm thinking specifically of in that round area.
They're very knowledgeable.
They'll tell you about, that particular shark is this, or the reason this is round is because of this. And like, it's really kind of an interesting, it's an interesting spot to relax. And you hit it on the head when you said, it's literally and figuratively cool.
Yeah.
Because it is also a great place to take a break. If you're looking for, like we've done shows before about top 5 ways to beat the heat. And one of them is breaking up your attraction time in between. So you do one that's hot and then you do one that's cool. This is one that you can actually spend a lot of time in too.
Well, and that's kind of an interesting thing about Epcot also, is if you're walking around and you're going to all the different countries, generally you're outside a lot. Unless you go into the little shop.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of outdoor stuff, because a lot of it is based on architecture and sort of these exterior views. But if you look at Imagination Pavilion, Seas Pavilion, Land Pavilion, those are all just, big buildings with stuff inside that you can go in.
Yeah.
Very, very different, but somehow they fit together and they, that's chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
So it's a nice way to get in there and cool off.
Yeah. No, I honestly, I'm not shocked that it's on your list. I'm kind of shocked. I was expecting you to put it higher because I know how much you guys love that. And Lil Joe, this time I have to remember to get a plush because on the last trip, I told my daughter, I want a Lil Joe plush. I said, yeah, we'll get one.
Yeah,
and then we didn't. Then we didn't, and we were walking. I go, we'll get it tomorrow when we come back because we're coming back to Epcot the next day. And the next day we spent our whole day in World Showcase and never got it. And then we got home and she was like, "Where's my Little Joe?" I was like, "Oops, my bad."
All right, this time.
Yeah, so we'll get it this time. I promise.
So now we're bouncing back to your 4.
Yep, my number 4.
We both had the same.
Is a very general thing because I took this list as what are the top 5 things to do in Epcot.
Yeah,
not top 5 rides and stuff like that. My number
whatever
5,
you like to do.
My number 4 is slow down.
Cool.
It's the one park I feel like you are not rushed. There's even when it's super packed. Now I understand that like New Year's and Christmas and 4th of July to an extent, it gets really slant. I understand that. Or opening day of a festival, it gets really, really tough. But for the most part, even when it's packed there, because it's such a massive park, it doesn't feel like it's packed. And so I do feel like you don't feel like you're in the rat race. It's okay to slow down. Look at the exhibits in the countries. Go through the gallery in the American Pavilion. Go to the art gallery.
Go to the Japanese
Oh my
pavilion.
gosh,
Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, but
yeah,
it's something fun to do.
Go through all those little just take a moment to really truly appreciate the architecture. Go back and look at the koi ponds. Go back and
one of my favorites.
Go back into the Canada Pavilion. People are like, the Canada Pavilion is boring.
No way, I love it back there.
Yeah, you go back there. I love it.
And it's also great too, and this isn't on my list. I'm glad you brought it up, but that waterfall back there,
yes,
the mist cools you off.
Yes, it does. That whole, and then that's just the back of the park, right? I'm sure you're not shocked. I'm going to mention the garden in UK Pavilion.
That's one of your favorites. It's fine.
But there's other places too. And now when you throw in the Moana area and you throw in the garden area and you throw in all these places, the walls are down with the exception of Test Track. The walls are down in Epcot now and it's open and it's okay to take your time there.
Yeah.
People talk about how they should skip this park. And with kids, sometimes people are like that.
Not anymore.
And to me, this is a park that you can do 2 days in and slow down and relax. And when it's festival time, it's even better. So there's shows. Oh, you want to, we could rush to the next ride, or I can sit down and watch this show at the concert stage.
Well,
it's just.
And another fair thing to point to what you're saying is that you could do a half day if you have young kids who can't or who are going to have a tough time if you're walking around World Showcase and there isn't anything for them to do necessarily. You really could do it as a morning or an afternoon park and then split it with one of the other parks if you have younger kids who are active and only want to do kid-type stuff.
Yeah, but there's still rides in World Showcase. I mean, there's Remy and there's Frozen Ever After.
Right.
So, I think that slowing down in this park is the only way to really and truly appreciate how beautiful that park is.
Yeah.
At night, oh my gosh, when it's lit
cool.
up, it is. Now I get it. It's not the same as walking through Toy Story Land at night, or not the same as walking through Pandora at night. But it has this very unique neon feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean by that? The light is just different. It's not. To me, that park transforms at night.
I have a question. I maybe I knew this, but I'm not sure. And you've watched a lot of videos to see. When they redid that center part, did they bring back the fiber optic?
No.
Okay. So have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. That I kind of miss. So what I'm talking about, if you're unfamiliar, is in Epcot, they used to have their concrete. That obviously at night you won't be able to see it during the day. They had fiber optic lights in there somehow. I don't know exactly how to do it. I don't want to guess because I could be wrong here. But it is fiber optic lighting. Am I right on that part?
I do believe it was.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
But that was a great part I remember in the 80s when we were leaving, that was just magic. It was so magic to me to walk out and just have the sidewalk kind of like pulsing with light. It's kind of like Arduino, actually.
Yeah. There's glowing sidewalks now, but it's not the same.
That was so cool.
So it's not the fiber optics. I pull up a picture here.
Okay.
But like that's like at dusk, you can see how they're glowing and stuff.
So describe what we're looking at.
So it's basically just like there's lines on the actual concrete that light up. But that's not what you're talking. You're talking about.
No. You're
talking about the old pavers that had looked like a galaxy in
correct.
the paver.
They look like tiny little dots that would light up in different and pulse almost. Yeah. Now Nick showed me a picture there. Think of it like a checkerboard, right? And inside of it, think of it like tiny little dots that light up and sparkle. So they didn't just go, flash on and off. Like they would pulse and sparkle.
So I think those are gone, but then in replacement, you have like this other kind of glowing type thing going on.
Okay, and those look similar to like an LED strip type thing.
Correct.
That looks good.
Yeah. And, like the Spaceship Earth at night, now they do the light shows on that. They upgraded with the LEDs on the outside of that. So I don't know. I think slowing down in that park is important, and that's my favorite thing to do in that. One of my favorite things to do in that park is to slow down. So what do you got for number 3?
Just exploring the different foods from the different countries, specifically getting tacos at the Mexican Pavilion, which I know you're going to laugh because we have a listener that says it's
not Mexican.
Yeah, but I love it. Or just taking time to try the different food options in the different countries to see what you like. And we're not there as often as some other people. There are some creators and people that listen to us, Eric and Rob, they're there all the time and they're trying everything for us. And that's awesome. But that's one of the things I really like to do is try the food in the different places, whether it's a festival or not. I've tried to eat it everywhere in China. We've eaten all the restaurants in Mexico. We have not eaten at Via Napoli because we didn't think we really could, but apparently we can. We have a couple people in our family with gluten allergies, if you are a new listener here. But again, that's a general one.
Yeah.
And you said some of yours were general, and that's what we like is having that option of ethnic food instead of, and we love burgers too. We're a burger family. That's our go-to, but we like the option of trying food in different countries. I would love, and I don't even know if this is an option. I got to look into this a little deeper, but going to Morocco and getting some type of, I know Morocco is not India, but they have spices that are similar.
Well, Spice Road Table is definitely.
But I would love that though.
Yeah. No, I mean.
So we like to explore. The foods from the
Morocco. Morocco is probably the most underutilized pavilion at this point, and I think it's ridiculous that it's underutilized because I love that pavilion. But
they made a DVC lounge, so there's two DVC lounges.
No, there is a lounge there, but it's not permanent. And I can't remember if it's the DVC one or what, like annual pass or whatever.
Maybe it is an annual pass.
So either way, it's so severely underutilized. So I agree with you that food might show up on my list later.
Excellent. That was my 3. What do you have for 3?
My number 3 is something that people don't think about when they think about Epcot. When you think about Epcot, you probably think about World Showcase. You think about, the learning aspect of it. For me, my number 3 is rides. I think, personally, that outside of Hollywood Studios, the best rides in Disney World are at Epcot.
Oof.
And that's my opinion.
That's a big take.
Well, hear me out.
I'm
hear
thinking,
me out, though. Frozen is a very good ride.
Yeah.
Remy is a very good ride.
See, that's a top 10. I don't know if Frozen's a top 10.
Cosmic Rewind is a very, very, very good ride.
That's a number 1.
That's a
hard number 1 for me.
Spaceship Earth is a good ride.
Remy maybe
Test
4
Track
or 5.
is a good ride. I mean, the list goes. Now, Epcot does have some stinkers, right? I mean, it's got Mission Space. It's got Grand Fiesta Tour, and it's got Imagination. Those 3 are definitely some stinkers in that park. But think about the other rides in that park and how good they are.
It's funny because I never really thought of it that way, but it does make sense. I think an interesting poll would be, and I'm not saying you have to do this, you can if you want, but an interesting poll would be to have some, like a listener or your random Disney person submit their either 5 or 10 favorite rides from any park. Then you take that data, you're a stats guy, and you take that data and then you match it to which park would rank the highest based on who has the most number of top 10 rides. How am I doing with my statistics?
No, I think that's a very good...
This is literally what Nick teaches, so
yeah, I think you could...
I'm going out on a limb here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could do it that way. I mean, So Magic Kingdom has the most rides, and so it certainly wins by quantity.
Sure.
And certainly for little kids, it's probably the best ride park.
I think it would have the most rides for me in my top 10.
Okay. I'm not arguing with you. What I'm saying is that for me, if you're looking, because Hollywood Studios, by far, my number 4 out of 4 parks.
Me too.
However, Hollywood Studios has the best rides.
Yeah. See, this,
you know what I mean?
Well, this is a good debate too.
Like Hollywood Studios has the best rides, but it's my least favorite park.
I feel like I have 15 minutes more of conversation in this that let's put a pin in this and come back to it.
Okay.
Or maybe this is a future Patreon episode.
Okay. But I think this is it's worth considering.
It's interesting, and it's hard to argue because this is how you feel, and I know that
that's opinion.
Epcot's your bread and butter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's put a pin in this and come back to this as a Patreon episode because I got lots to say, and I know you do too.
Okay, I do think that we'll probably get some feedback from listeners on this one.
And I want feedback from listeners. We always do.
But so number 3 for me, just to recap, is that I think when you're top 5 things to do at Epcot, number 3 for me is rides because I think the rides here are slept on.
Okay.
All right.
So I will come back to that kind of, but not at number 2.
Okay.
My number 2 is shopping.
Holy cow.
You too?
My number 2 is shopping.
But my favorite by far, well, maybe not by far, I actually really like the Creation Shop a lot.
That shop is awesome.
It's great.
I love that shop.
But my number 1 is Mitsukoshi.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite. Like, you and I had so much fun walking around
just walk around in there, yeah.
Just looking at all kinds of cool random stuff. Our boys are both really into gaming, so they were looking at all the cool, Nintendo and Sonic, and we were looking at all the cool, Japanese tattoo-inspired clothing and socks, and, incense burners, which I love. It's my weird thing.
Crazy
that I dig.
potato chips.
Yeah, that's right.
There's so much to do.
Oh, I love that place.
Shopping in general at Epcot is
awesome.
Yeah, because where else can you go to a shop in Italy?
I was just gonna say Italy too.
And then then all of a sudden you're in a shop in Germany.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you're in a shop in Japan. Then it is so diverse.
Yeah.
You know what? The Mexico Pavilion, the way they have it set up, street vendors. And
I love that it's nighttime all day.
It's shopping at that park.
I'm glad we agree on that.
And we're talking right now about the World Showcase shopping, but you're so spot on. That Creation Shop I might like that better than the Emporium.
It is. It's great. It's open air. It's spread out. I feel like at the Emporium, I feel like, I don't know. I have a strange feeling when I'm in there. It's cool. It's Main Street. But it's just an assault on my senses.
Yeah.
And it's
not open enough either. And I feel so crowded all the time.
See, and this is a weird argument, but if you think of the Disney store in Disney Springs, World of Disney, right?
Yep.
That is very open air, but that is still it's an assault on my senses.
Yeah.
It's stuff everywhere. But something about the Creation Shop is so clean.
I don't know what it is they did in there, but it is exactly what I was saying. Clean. You don't feel crowded.
No. And it's always crowded there, but I just feel I feel good. There's a lot of glass, so it's bright all the time.
Yep.
I don't know. That place is great. And then and some of the other honorable mentions here, besides the countries where you can get all the really cool stuff from the specific countries is, so if you think of the Imagination Pavilion, for example, all the really cool Figment stuff, all right, some people love, some people hate, but it's more, I don't know what it is. It's more youthful and fun type merchandise there. If you think about the Seas Pavilion is so cool because everything is like underwater themed. Like,
that gift shop's great too.
They're so great. Like,
you're forgetting my favorite, one of my favorite, certainly my top 5 of shops in Epcot.
Pin traders.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. Under Spaceship Earth.
It is such a great little shop.
Yeah, it's great.
They're so knowledgeable. You go in there and like the people in there. Look, we know that Disney cast members are awesome, but they are cast perfectly in this particular situation because the people in there are also pin collectors. You can tell because they're like, oh, check this one out or check this out. I love shopping. I mean, obviously, I put it in the same rank as you did.
Speaking of pins, I forgot to tell you, every time my band plays a show, on my guitar strap, I do a pin somehow related to what's going on. I had 2, and I forgot to show them to you last night. So I had Ben Kenobi because I was feeling old, because I was feeling sick, so I was feeling like an old man. So I was Ben Kenobi. But then I also put this giant Haunted Mansion one on there, too, which I was going to show you.
That's funny.
It's like this big, and it was like digging into my shirt. Anyway, I know that's just an aside. But,
I feel like, I know it's silly to think, well, I paid this money to go into an amusement park and shop, but like, it's not shopping.
No,
You're looking at cool stuff.
It's discovery. Even if you don't buy anything, just seeing.
We didn't even mention England.
Oh, that's a great one too.
Yeah. Like the tea and the different, like, I just, and like when it's festival time and they've got the little booths set up in the festival time stuff, and they've got, I feel like Epcot kills the merch game. The merch game at Epcot is so top notch. And I think that's probably why I love the Creation Shop so well, because they do Epcot merch, they do Marvel, like that's where you can get a lot of the Marvel stuff is in there. Their mugs are always awesome in Epcot. And I know it seems weird, like I probably can get some of that stuff out of Shop Disney, but not all of it.
No.
The 2 dueling shops there as you're entering into World Showcase, what do they call it? The gateway shops or whatever.
The one on the left?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But they have cool, unique games in there. They've got great shirts.
Is there 2? I think it's just 1.
Is there?
I think you're right though. Like as soon as you said that, I agreed with you, and then I was trying to picture in my head the other. I think it's just 1 at the front, and that's the one with the games. And like home goods.
Yes.
Because you and I spent a lot of time in there when we were waiting for the fireworks.
Right, because it was cool.
Right.
It's nice and air conditioned. You go in there, and that's another one that, like, it's a merch shop, but it is not, you don't feel crowded like you do in the Emporium. It's not an insult. It's not an assault on your senses, like you were saying. So, yeah, I think it's funny that we both said shopping. That's
shopping could be 1 for me, but my number 1, and I know we're talking in general terms, but Epcot as my number 1 favorite thing to do in all of the parks right now. The best thing in all of Disney is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
I can't argue.
Man, and you know what? I've been on it 3 times. I'm sure people are laughing and saying, I've done 40. Well, that was my Mickey Mouse, I guess.
Yeah.
But at all 3 times, I was lucky enough to get 3 different songs. Sorry. My favorite one, we got right away. And I was so excited that the one I wanted more than any other was Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love that song. And my Spotify, not this year, but the year before, when we went there, that was my number 1 or number 2 most played song of the year. Was that.
Really?
And it comes on in like my classroom all the time. And it's funny, kids, and when I say kids, I mean like I'm Nick's son's teacher.
Yeah.
And Nick's son knows it right away. He perked right up and knew what the song was. But it comes on. I have this 80s playlist. Your son, obviously, he knows music really well. But your average middle schooler.
They know it still.
They know it.
Yeah.
Like it's really transcend. Yeah. And I'm getting off track a little bit. But we had September, which actually we played at our wedding. and Conga, which I didn't think I was going to like. Oh, no, that's not true. Maybe we didn't have September. No, we had Blondie, and I didn't like Blondie. I didn't think Blondie fit.
Yeah, I know you didn't like the Blondie one, but I kind of like that one. But I personally, the re-rideability of that ride, because of the music, is awesome. But take the music away, and it is still an amazing feat. Like,
did you get Flock of Seagulls? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
You didn't? Which ones did you have? What songs?
Oh my gosh, you're asking.
Because you've done it also 3 times?
4.
4, because you went to Epcot one more time after we did when we were in California.
Yeah, I went last year. Right. I did it twice last summer.
So do you remember what songs you had?
I honestly don't remember. I know I haven't.
Ask your son. He'll remember.
Yeah, I know I haven't had Conga. I had Conga once, and I didn't like it. I know you are a fan of that song.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Like we did that. We did a list on that one episode. Yeah. But it's still not even in my top 3.
Yeah, it's one of those rides that, like, man, yes, it can mess with you if you have motion sickness issues. Mm-hmm. Now, I thought sitting in the middle was supposed to be the thing. Somebody else said, no, sit in the back. And I was like, really? So I'm going to try that next time.
I am going to research the heck out of that, because the last thing I want to do is be dizzy. You know, it's...
it's not...
We have a funny story, new listeners. Regulars, you've probably heard this one before, but Nick and I went on the teacups.
Oh my God.
And Nick and I are gripping that wheel, and we're staring at each other down like,
you turn this wheel.
If you turn this wheel, I'm going to kill you. He goes, no, if you turn it, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And we're it's like the Old West. Yeah. Like, it's the showdown between me and Nick staring at each other, because, you know, we like to mess with each other.
Yeah.
And the other one is so mad that you're not going to ruin, because it was at the end of the day and we were going to stay till 1 a.m. Remember?
Yeah, it was. And the kids and our sons, meanwhile, are going as fast as they can. I was like, you're going to throw up everywhere.
And they didn't.
Mickey bars and your popcorn.
Anyway, I want to stick a pin in Guardians of the Galaxy songs. And I want to come back to that later, because I had a really cool idea. I actually have 2 things that are going to relate to honorable mention. So remind me. We'll come back to that.
All right.
Let's get your number 1.
My number 1, no shock here, is the food at Epcot.
You love it.
Listen, you cannot go to Epcot and plan to, like, let's say if you have an Epcot day and you're planning to eat at your resort, you're doing it wrong.
Yes.
If you're having an Epcot day and you're planning to go to Disney Springs to eat, you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if you're going to Epcot and you're not, like, bringing stretchy pants, you're also doing it wrong. Because
I've been buying these stretchy shorts.
So I just, like, you've got all the Epcot booths, right? You have the foods that, if you're not during a festival, you have all the foods in every country that's unique and different. Whether it's school bread, or you're going to get the going to Caramel Kucha and getting something there, or you're going into the France Pavilion and you're getting some macarons. You like it's the food there. The food game there is just top notch, and you're not talking theme park food. You're not talking about, you know, chicken fingers and some burgers. You're talking about really good food, whether it's amazing pizza in Via Napoli, or, which is, by the way, is probably the best way for a family, best budget family friendly table service.
I gotta look up the gluten-free options there.
The going over to Teppan Edo, we had a blast doing that. Like, eating hibachi at Disney was cool, you know, and just, there's so many different things, and that's not even touching the front of the park, where in the front of the park they have unique foods, and you can go into, like, the Club Cool and get the crazy different kinds of sodas.
You know, that's on my honorable mention, because I haven't done that. It was closed a good portion of the younger days of my kids. Oh my God. When my kids were younger, it wasn't available. My kids are going to love that now.
Yeah.
You know, because they're older. You know, I got a 15 and a 17-year-old. They're going to totally love that.
Yeah, it's just a cool... The park, that park is just... for me, who, you know, is a self-proclaimed foodie, like, man, that park is just so much fun to go around, eat your way around the world. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you're eating your way around the world, you should probably do it in style, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That leads me to what I was going to talk about.
Oh, does it?
I think.
Oh, were you talking about shirts?
Group shirts, yeah.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
One thing that we did, and I mean, this is inadvertently going to turn into a plug, but it's not on purpose here.
No, yeah.
So one thing that we did as a group before we left is we came up with, I don't know whose idea it was. Could have been yours, mine, one of our wives. But we decided, let's all choose our favorite country or our favorite pavilion.
Yeah.
So I chose Japan. You chose Canada because you're practically Canadian anyways. Like my daughter chose France because she takes French in school. So everybody picked a country.
And I think everybody picked a different country without having to be forced to pick a different country.
True. And then actually, I remember your wife switched because she started with Morocco.
Yep.
And I don't think the flag looked, it didn't look as smooth as some of the other ones.
Yeah.
And then she goes, nobody's chosen Germany.
Yeah.
And then she flipped to Germany, which she was happier with anyway.
Yeah.
So what I made was, and we actually have these for sale. Again, this purpose is not a plug. It's just cool to do group shirts. And then in a minute, I'm going to tell you my new idea.
Yeah.
So we designed, and Nick designs too, but I ended up making these ones. So what it is the silhouette of Figment.
Yeah.
So we can get away with it because it's not really a copy.
It's not technically
thing.
IP.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the silhouette of Figment kind of jumping in the air or flying, whatever.
Yeah.
And then inside of the silhouette is the actual country's flag.
Yeah.
So we each got a shirt, walked around all day. We got some great compliments.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, and this is still available on our website, is we choose the T-shirt color. It's not just black or just white. If you want your whole crew to be, okay, our family, so we know where our family is, we're all going to do them in bright green. Nick's wearing green right now.
Yep.
Or you want them all in a country or a color that matches the country. Yep. So like for me, I got my shirt in red because it was white with the red dot for Japan.
Yep.
And it was so much fun. We got a picture of each one of us. Nick has it somewhere. We can post it at some point.
Yeah.
And again, this is a plug. I'm just going to say we do have these for sale on magicmerch.art or magicmerch77 on Etsy. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, magicmerch77.etsy.com.
So we have those available. And one more thing.
Yeah.
We also have available with those designs.
Oh,
that I don't know if we've even talked about this on the show.
The magicmerch.art. It's not on Etsy anymore,
okay.
But the magicmerch.art, they're pint glasses.
Pint glasses.
So you can drink around the world from each glass.
Those are cool,
and
too.
Like Rob said, it's an inadvertent plug, but like.
But if you're listening and you want them, get them.
Yeah, like they're
it's fun.
We're not trying to run a commercial at all, but like one of the things in Epcot is like when you think about people who go to Epcot, a lot of times the drinking around the world thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Eating around the world or whatever.
You see them everywhere. It's in the Metallica font. It's the world tour. We've seen a million times.
But the reality is that like group shirts in Epcot is just you see them more so than other parks, and I loved the fact that we were like we all had our own country. So like the picture that Rob's talking about, and I'll try to find it and repost it. It was we got a picture of us in front of each of our individual countries' icon.
Yeah, it was great.
So like I was standing in front of the totem pole, and Rob was standing. Were you at the arch or were you?
I was in front. Yes, I was in front of the arch. So my back was to the arch and the lagoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like my daughter was wearing an England shirt, or UK shirt, so she was inside the phone booth.
The phone booth, right?
Yeah. So like just like
Those are
fun little things that we did. My son was standing at the pyramid wearing his Mexico shirt.
Yep.
It just we talked about so many fun things to do in Epcot, but I feel like Epcot is the best group park.
Yep.
Because there's something for everybody, and we just had a blast today. And group shirts, like, is this an advertisement? Sure, I guess you can think of it like that, but like, it's an honorable mention is like actually dressing up for a day at Epcot is just kind of a fun thing to do.
Are you ready for my new idea? I haven't even told you this yet.
Uh-oh.
This is our family talked about this the other day. This is what we're going to do for this year for Epcot.
Okay.
Each one of us is going to get a band or concert T-shirt for there's 5 songs, but the 4 of us are all going to pick one of the groups from Cosmic Rewind, whether it's Earth, Wind, and Fire, Gloria Estefan, Blondie, Flock of Seagulls, or Tears for Fears. And we're going to wear those concert T-shirts around.
That's fun.
And people generally probably won't know that it's a group shirt idea, but to us, it's cool.
Yeah.
So we all pick our favorite.
That is a cool one.
Yeah. So I think we're going to do that one this year. So.
That'll be fun.
So, yeah, I got a lot of honorable mentions.
Go ahead.
That was one, is the group shirts.
Yep.
And, it's really close to making the list for me, but I had Frozen. So, that whole land is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's hard to do a list and not put, like, Frozen and Spaceship Earth and the land pavilion in general.
Yeah, I cheated and said rides.
Yeah.
But
Club Cool Sodas,
Yeah.
You mentioned that too. And this is kind of a weird one, but I've always, even to this day, I've always loved hanging out outside the Imagination Pavilion.
Oh, yeah.
With the jumping water.
Yeah.
And the reverse waterfall.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've talked about this on the show or not. For some reason, I am so enamored, and it's like magnetic when I look at the colors on the outside of the Imagination Pavilion.
Yeah.
Just with the red, orange, and yellow with the blues.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it so much that the computer lab, which I mentioned earlier in the episode, I painted the interior of the computer lab to match
the Imagination Pavilion.
The blue is slightly off, and it drives me nuts, but I ordered like those specific colors, and like the paint that they sent me was the wrong paint, but whatever. So I love hanging out outside the Imagination Pavilion. So that's kind of what I had for honorable mention.
I would agree with all of that. I think the one thing I would add is that honorable mention things to do at Epcot is to just take a stroll at night, specifically out by Spaceship Earth. Now they do the shows out there. Yeah. The fireworks are obviously good, but I feel like the lighting there is just so spectacular. The only thing I wish about Epcot was that, like, because it's so big, I feel like they need the Walt Disney World Railroad more than Magic Kingdom does.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Or they hook
because they have
more
those
monorail.
Because they have like the friendship. They have not friendship boats, but the boats they go across World Showcase Lagoon.
Have you ever been on those?
No,
me neither.
I've never done them, not once.
Man, I gotta make a list of stuff that there's very few things I haven't done, not including restaurants. I'm not counting that, but like as far as things to do that generally are free and part of the park experience. Yeah, I got to add that on there.
But I don't know. I this park, I've said it before, is my favorite park. There's so many fun things to do there. A top 5 list really isn't doing it the justice that's why I spoke in generalities, because there's no way for me to like pick my favorite. I mean, you got Living with the Land, you've got a Spaceship Earth, you've got Remy's, the rides the list goes on and on and on. So I couldn't pick like a specific ride. It's like picking amongst your children. But that's kind of where, if I moved to Disney, I would pay for a annual pass solely just for Epcot. I would. If you told me you can buy an annual pass and you can only pick one park to use it in, it would be Epcot, and I would be there every day.
I don't know if I would be in great shape or horrible shape, because I'd be walking so much, but I would be eating food. So maybe I would just maintain. Yeah. While drinks too.
Yeah, the amount of tequila I would drink. I'm just kidding.
My niece calls it Catila.
the fish and chips. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I would eat so much food there.
Anyway.
I do eat so much food there. But this has been a fun one. I like the last 2 weeks, I feel like we kind of went back to our roots a little bit. And
I love it. I love circling back and talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's extra exciting because we know right around the corner, you in just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'm shortly behind you. So we're going to have tons. This summer's going to be great, listeners. Yeah. We are going to have trip reports. Nick and I will go live from the parks.
Yeah.
We'll have lots of good content. Summer's a biggie because we're teachers, and this is the time where we
can go and do things. Yeah. I'm excited. I really am. So I would say, if you haven't yet signed up on patreon.com, please do. Look, you can do it for free, and you basically get an email when our stuff goes live. You will be kept in the loop about other things, so we post things there as well. And pretty soon, man, Patreon, I love Patreon, but at the same time, they're slow on their beta testing. But there's like a chat feature that soon is going to be available for free individuals as well. And so like you can be involved in our chat groups, and we have one, for planning. We have one with with trip reports, and we have one about the podcast. It's just a fun overall community to be a part of. So patreon.com/DizlessPod. And we've already mentioned magicmerch.art if you want to pick up one of those group shirts. Those are our featured shirts of the week. We actually we wear them ourselves, and I'll be posting a picture of those. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the support throughout the last 103 episodes. I can't believe how long we've been doing this, but it's been a blast. Next week will be the next release we have will be one away from the 2-year mark.
Jeez.
I know, right? That's crazy. So we really appreciate you guys, especially you patrons who make it so that we can do this every week. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.